if you have a mortgage, why don't you have a life insurance policy on your mortgage? There might be people that I meet that say to me, it's fine, nothing's gonna happen. I'm like, my friend, you're not God. No one knows. You see today, you don't see tomorrow. Even just not having, that was the one that scares me the most. And yes, everyone here knows about life insurance. It's income protection. Because, and I'll tell you why. Whether you're self-employed, whether you're a company director, whether you're an employee, whether you're a low entry or CEO, if your main source of income stops today, how long can you survive financially to maintain the lifestyle that you're living?
Yo guys, what's going on, man? Hope you guys enjoyed the last episode. It feels nice to come back, I can't lie. I've been away for too long. We're back. Cess was a very great guy, a great story as well. If you guys missed that, go check that. It'll be in our bio. Well, not bio, but in the description as well. Very big episode today. Before I go on the word of the day, we got a guy EJ. EJ, what's up, man? You good?
I'm good, man. How you guys?
All blessed, man. All blessed, bro. All blessed.
This is Father Supreme.
Not supreme.
Father Supreme. Look at the posture. Look at the posture.
I clocked it. I was like,
I just got time to relax.
Be relaxed. Be relaxed.
Bro.
Nah, you're doing a fantastic job, bro.
Oh, thank you,
like,
bro.
before we even get into this episode, you and your missus, fantastic job.
Nice.
Like from just the blessings that you guys have in your house, the amount of blessings you have in your house, and then everything you're doing to kind of run the household as well. Like, for sure, you are visibly making an impact on people that don't even know that they can do this sort of thing. So
Thank you.
We appreciate what you're doing, man. But yeah.
Nice, man. Word of the day. Today, I take responsibility for providing stability and security for my family. Every wise financial decision. Every wise financial decision I make today builds a stronger future for those who depend on me.
I like that.
This is why we brought the man for this particular topic. This is why, because I think it's something that people know about, looking after, providing. The word provide is just a buzzword. Like, let's provide for your family. Who's providing? The man's providing, woman's providing, everything. But there's also other tools out there that we can use, manipulate, take advantage of to look after ourselves and our family. First things first, before we delve into the money conversation, because today is a money conversation somewhat. EJ has been blessed with 5 children.
5 bouncing kids. Is it boys, girls?
Yeah,
Mix?
I got 2 boys and 3 girls.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I've got a nice mix.
Amazing.
I have to ask, because the people will be screaming down the camera lens, how do you do it?
Do you know what? Me and my wife sometimes, even in the midst of the chaos, we even ask, how do we do it? But we say it's our beautiful chaos. That's what it is. And I feel, for us, I come from a background, it's me and my sister, so it's just 2 of us. And I always felt growing up, there was one child missing. You know, obviously, parents coming to the country as immigrants, they're trying to figure out the system, navigate. Obviously, my dad had 7 siblings. So for him, I was asked, what was it like growing up? He said it was great. However, when he came to the country, he said he didn't want too many kids. Understandable. For me, I always thought there was that gap.
Yeah.
So I said to my wife, I want at least 5. And then,
So this has been your plan.
but we just said it like, not realizing what comes with having 5.
Of course.
But yeah, we'll be fine, we'll figure it out. But we can have that mindset we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And we've just been figuring it out.
And was your missus open to 5 kids as well?
So she comes from, there's 4, altogether there's 4 of them, so she's got 3 other siblings.
Okay.
So she loved that growing up. So when she told me, she was yeah, that sounds amazing. Whereas with me and my sister, we had that 5-year gap. So then when we got older, we've now built more of a closer bond. So I was like, you know what? It would have been beautiful to have that bond when we were a lot younger. Or closer in age, if that makes sense. So,
do you think the age difference caused, I guess, just not to have the bond, or because one was a boy, one's a girl?
It hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
I don't have interest in what, if I'm 12, my sister's, I might get the math completely wrong here, if she's like 8 or 7, we're not going to relate. She's telling me about dolls, I'm thinking about football.
Yeah.
You know.
You're from a family of 5, innit?
Yeah, 5 boys. My mom
What
has
was it like
5
for you
boys.
growing up?
It was nice because I feel like as we got older, we got close in it. My older brother was always the guy that used to set the new revolution. He used to revolt against stuff and, open stuff for us so that we can do stuff, then I had to take charge and do that as well when he moved out. So not moved out, but when he went off and went to uni and stuff. So it was nice, man. And like, in a way, all of us became fathers of each other. So my brother was my father. My brother was my second father. I was the father of my other brothers, and so on and so forth. And obviously the last one was the one that we all poured into.
It's funny you say that, even though my kids are they're close in age, but they're really young right now. So my eldest is 8, then I've got a 6-year-old, then I've got a 5-year-old, then I've got a 3-year-old, and then also the 2-year-old. But the youngest that everyone gravitates, he's the baby. Literally, you can tell that one there is a spoilt one. He's the one that gets away with everything. So literally that, and I can see how my eldest Nova, she's like the supreme mum, basically. So she's kind of like obviously watch over Ava, and Ava be more watchful over the others, and then as it goes down. So yeah, I see the dynamic already.
Amazing.
Crazy.
I have a brother, 2 sisters, 4. I wanted 4. I ran scared. I won't even say. I just thought like I'm at 2 now, and I just thought like life is good for us. Like we're happy here, sort of thing. And I guess a bit selfishly, I want the time back with my missus. So like I feel like we're done at this point, innit? But if God says run it back, go again, then you go again, innit? But like for now I think everything is good. We're agreeing at the 2 sort of thing. But yeah, man, I think 5 in this day and age, everyone is asking how do you do it? But financially, like even down to things like car. What car do you drive that carries all of these people in? Like,
so how do you do it financially? I think the game changer or the key differential for me and my wife that's helped is I work for myself. And I've been in a role whereby, when I first began, so when I got out of uni, I was working in the school as a science technician, then I pivoted into the pharmaceutical industry because I've done biochemistry at uni. But it was just that constraint financial. It was just that constraint between leaving the house early, coming back late. Thankfully for me, my role was field-based, so I go and see GPs and doctors and talk about pharmaceutical products. So in a way, there'll be certain times whereby I could skive off, get home a bit earlier, which was great, don't get me wrong. But then when I got made redundant and then I pivoted into financial services, the company I was working for was heavily in the office. And I was like, this ain't it. Like, it got to a point whereby I read it out for a long period of time. But then it just got to a point where I was like, I just feel like I'm answerable to someone. Like, I'm having to come here at this time for this meeting. It's for me, and I'm not to say I'm a rebellious person, but I know I'm not called to be a worker.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but I know I'm willing to bet my hedges on myself that I can do something and make it work. So thankfully I was able to pivot into a role whereby I work my own hours. I'm basically my own boss, And with that, having that flexibility to take the kids to school, pick them up, do all these after school activities. If I'm really being honest, if I was stuck in my 9-to-5 predicament, mate, I'm not gonna be able to take kids anywhere. You come home frustrated. Luckily for me, a lot of my appointments are done during the school hours now. So as soon as I drop the kids off, I'm back at my desk by 9:30, working up until the time the kids finish school. Also, I might take some evening appointments with my clients, but I'm so happy with the fact that my diary, I can dictate my own diary, if that makes sense. So anyway, it's a thankful position to be in. If not, there's no way I can have 5 kids in this economy. Impossible. Impossible. That there's no way. And to those that do it whilst working 24/7, but working a 9-to-5, hats off to you. You're the strongest shoulders. Honestly.
Yeah. Thanks. Do you want to say what your actual role is?
So my role now, so I work as a wealth protection advisor, but I also manage a team of mortgage and insurance brokers. So specializing around life insurance, health insurance, income protection, mortgages, wills, to name but some. The good thing I like about this role is everyone and anyone needs a product that I offer. As long as you're walking, breathing, have children, have a mortgage to your name or property, you need one of the products I have on offer. And I always said it off the camera before we started recording, but there are a few incentives or few perks that we have. We need to utilize them. One being, you can get a life insurance policy that pays a lump sum if anything was to happen to you, go to your kids. I always say, especially when I'm on call, where you are currently in life, if anything happens to you today or tomorrow, what are you leaving behind? If you're happy with that, then fair enough. But if you're not, you need to have the right things in place. Even, for example, I'm going to deviate and come back to it. Do you have a junior stock and shares ISA for your kids? A lot of people don't. And that's probably one of the best ways in the country that we can help pass on wealth or an inheritance to our kids. There are a lot of people that I meet, especially now because of the job that I do, whereby I see all classes. And there is a big gap when it comes to class. So what I mean is I've seen people that are middle class, upper middle class, even those that are struggling working class. But the habits I tend to see with the middle class upwards, or those that are now becoming higher, lower class, and that sounds a bit weird, but I know when I say that, as in maybe you come from a working class background, but you're now working towards getting to that next level, they're realizing utilizing the junior stock and shares ISA for my kids is a great way. It's like saying, even if you just put it on a simple ETF or index fund, and you're getting an annual return of say 8 to 10%, where there is no other savings account that's going to offer you that. But how many people are doing it in the UK?
Yeah.
In the UK, there's a stat, it's around 15% of UK adults have stocks and shares ISA for themselves. And I'm like, guys, I'm screaming it from the rooftops. We're not utilizing these things that the government, they don't give us much, but the things that they do give us, why aren't we utilizing it? What people don't realize is, there was even talks they want to reduce the threshold from 20K is what you can put in legally tax-free every year. They want to drop that to 14K. There was even talks of it going back to £7,000.
Yeah.
But why are we not utilizing it?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like even other things I can talk about, income protection. I always say the moment you have a property or the moment you're renting, the moment you have kids, if you don't know what your employer is giving you in terms of company sick pay, you're playing a dangerous game. And it's like, say for example, I don't know, say if I talk to 10 people in a week or more, whatever, I can guarantee nearly 90% don't know what their sick pay entitlement is from their employer. And I would say, if you've got bills to pay, you're putting yourself at a deficit. How do you pay your bills if you can't work, if you're sick?
Yeah.
You know, so that's part of my day-to-day, help people find the right packages, just kind of put their mind at ease with regards to financial protection.
That's good stuff.
When did that become important for you?
Great question.
At what point did you realize, did it take you getting into the job to understand all of this and put it into play in your own life? Or
So I guess there was different segments and different seasons. So it's funny how life works. I'll never forget when I was 18 working in retail. And that's what there's a saying, never despise humble beginnings. When I was working in Hamleys doing retail, so there was a man who just took a liking to me. And he always says, when you get older, make sure you get a pension, put money into pension, never opt out. And that's always stuck with me, yeah. Any company I've gone into, I've never opted out. People are like, yeah, I'm going to opt out so I get extra £200. But what you don't realize is the benefit of having a pension in the UK is your employer legally has to match the pension contribution. So by you saying no to a pension, what you're saying is, I'm saying no to free money. That's absurd to me. What, for an extra £200? But then in the long run, if we see the long game, that's going to benefit you when it's time to retire. People are going to turn around and say, but you're going to get taxed, X, Y, Z. Well, did you know that at the age of 57, you can withdraw 25% of your pension pot tax-free? Most people don't know that. But back to answer your question, so when did I start getting into that? I think just throughout like my 20s, people were just sowing little seeds. I never forget when my missus told me we were expecting our first child, 27, that's when I was like, okay, I need to get a bit more clued up on this. So luckily with the company I was at, this pharmaceutical company, they offered death in service. So I took that out. Then we also had some additional policies you can take, like critical illness. So I remember now when I got made redundant, so I had a little bit of savings, but I was like, damn, I need to find, when I get a job, I need to get insurance. Lo and behold, a friend of mine said to me, have you ever considered doing insurance? And I was like, what do you mean doing insurance? It's like literally just like offering people packages, letting them know what's available, and it's educating. And I said, you know what, well, if I can talk to doctors and nurses about pharmaceutical products, what's insurance? It shouldn't be difficult. And yeah, like 7, 8 years later, this is what I'm doing. So I feel like knowing about workplace benefits kind of just sowed that seed, and having people like from young say to me like, you need to do this when you get older. And I always say having access to information, which a lot of people tend not to have, then you don't know, if that makes sense. Because even with me, with stocks and shares, no one sat me down. It's just my own personal research. So I feel like us as the generation where we're at now, we've got to tell the younger ones, you're 18 now, put away £50 aside each month towards this, or £100 each month towards that, each one teach one. So
it's important.
Very important.
It's definitely important. Do you, from your experience, what's like the biggest thing that can like destabilize families financially, like just like wipe them out and they hadn't prepared for it?
Definitely.
100%. That's probably number one. And
I don't know if it's a question to ask you, but obviously, you see if someone has a lot of debt or whatnot and they die, does that debt go into the family, or is that debt?
So there are instances where it can pass on to next of kin. I always say, especially depending on the company you work for, so top 3 decisions I always say people will make in their life: who you choose to marry or do kids with, and the company you work for. So what most people don't realize is the company you work for, obviously I know we're in a day and age people are switching companies every 2 to 5 years, but where you work could really have an influence in your future. So for example, if they do offer death in service, Is it at 2 times your annual salary? Is it at 4 times your annual salary? I know it sounds a bit mundane, but those questions we should be asking. What other wellness benefits do you offer? Do you offer health insurance, for example? I've known people whereby they've been able to use their health insurance through work to get certain surgeries done privately. Yes, I will never bash the NHS. My mum and dad worked for the NHS. However, the NHS has many constraints.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go private, if you're very experienced using private medical, it's a different ballgame. Seeing quicker, treatment that's not available in the NHS, medicines that aren't available in the NHS, but a lot of people aren't tapped into their workplace benefits. And if they don't offer it, I would rather take a pay cut, well, not a drastic pay cut, but go to a company that offers those benefits, if that makes sense. But with regards to what you say, yeah, definitely not having a will, because what you're saying is by not having a will, you almost want to leave the decision up to the local authority, basically.
Crazy.
If you have a mortgage, why don't you have a life insurance policy on your mortgage? There might be people that I meet that say to me, it's fine, nothing's gonna happen. I'm like, my friend, you're not God. No one knows. You see today, you don't see tomorrow. Even just not having, that was the one that scares me the most. And yes, everyone here knows about life insurance. It's income protection. Because, and I'll tell you why. Whether you're self-employed, whether you're a company director, whether you're an employee, whether you're a low entry CEO, if your main source of income stops today, how long can you survive financially to maintain the lifestyle that you're living? And I always say, if it's not a year to 2 years, my friend, you need income protection that will pay your own personal sick pay cover. That can pay you a monthly wage for up to a year, 2 years, 5 years, or straight to retirement age. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming, or you don't have to get yourself, what's the best way to articulate, overwhelmed by it. Because a lot of people that mean, it's a lot of information, EJ, I know, like my mind, I'm like, hey, when I speak to an advisor like myself, obviously it doesn't have to be me, if it is me, great, but that can actually truly sit down and literally show you the gaps, show you the holes. The same way I would encourage, and I know people want to say, but it's a bit expensive. Sometimes sit down with a financial advisor that can help future-proof and help plan your retirement plan. Does that make sense? Because what you're going to see is, obviously, I know you're African heritage, you're African heritage, Ghanaian. Okay, look, I don't know about your parents, but let's not use your parents as an example, but there are some parents, they're relying on state pension when it's time to retire. My friend, do you know how much state pension is per week? So a lot of our parents are going to be at a deficit, especially if you're doing council housing and you don't have a mortgage. Do you hear what I'm going to say? So, and a lot of people will give them false information. Don't opt into your workplace pension. When our parents came to the country as immigrants. So again, it says my people perish due to lack of knowledge. But the point I'm trying to get to is if you can, sit down with a financial advisor. Ideally, if you can find one that maybe give you a free consultation, just to help lay out a roadmap. How much do I need to be putting aside monthly? How much do I need to go towards insurances? How much do I need to go towards, say, investments, savings? And even if, say, you want to start a business, I'm not saying to everyone leave their 9 to 5 and become, say, self-employed, but try and find an additional source of income. You know, how many of us can truly say hand on heart that our main source would bring? Also, some people, but not for a lot of people. No, let me rephrase that. For some people, their main source may not be enough. You know, don't be afraid to look at another way to generate income. There's things you can do: affiliate marketing. You can do referral schemes. If you want to go and get another job, you can get another job. You can do something on the side. I know people that do the job that I do on the side as well, or people that just do it solely just as their main income. But even myself, I make content now. I'm now making money from content because I've realized in the economy that we're in, plus having 5 kids, I can't rely on my one source.
You need to max yourself. That's interesting.
So you said death as a destabilizer.
Not having a will.
Work. A will.
Not having life insurance, not having income protection. That's, for me, that's the one that scares me the most.
Income protection,
Because I'm like, I just see it as this. If you, I'll give you an example. I had a gentleman that I spoke to when I first joined the industry, young fella, and he was like, I don't need it, man. I'm fine, I'm fit, I'm healthy. So luckily his missus got onto him and said, no, you have to. Anyway, done the policy. Long short of it, he had to have surgery. He was at our work for 6 months.
Wow.
He said, EJ, thank God, because he was a bit of a, I don't know if you can swear, but he was a bit of an arsehole, leave it like that. But he was like, you know what, I'm so glad my missus got onto me today. He's receiving 1,500 each month for 6 months.
Yeah, and it's the thing, you don't know like what his bills and stuff is, but that's money that he wouldn't have obtained.
I'm telling you now, if I don't have income protection, my head is doing this. I can't. No. When you've got responsibilities, you've got bills, you've got children, you've already created this lifestyle that your kids are used to. So now take that back. For me, you're being irresponsible, and it's lack of planning. You know?
Yeah, there's definitely a side of it that is like you can learn more about. So obviously, we have a friend, Dennis, and when Dennis was kind of helping to set me and my missus up on it, like he was looking at our current policy and stuff, and he said like what we have and stuff is all good, but then we discovered by him looking at it, like I think it was our, what's the one that covers the house or some
Mortgage protection.
Mortgage protection was only till 60, like the age or something. Was till like 60 something. And my assumption on these things is just like it's till I'm gone. You see what I mean? I thought they just last forever, like until he was like, no, like there's ages on it.
So I always ask. So whenever I get a referral or someone books on my calendar, I just ask 3 questions: is your policy in trust? Does it expire at 90 for the life insurance? The critical illness ailment side of things, does that go beyond retirement age? If you say yes to all of them, I'll shake your hand and say, great, we don't need to talk. Your advisor done great by you. If there is no to any of them, we need to have a conversation. Because my whole thing is, I just want peace of mind. I've realized the older I get, and the amount of kids that I have, I need convenience. So it's like car insurance, fully comp. I've never had to claim. But I just want peace of mind. So when it happens, if I have car breaks, I've got breakdown cover, they give me a courtesy car, call up, it does what needs to be done. And that's why I look at insurance. Peace of mind.
Talk a bit on that, putting your policies in trust and the difference if it's not and thing. Because I think that's important for people to know with families as well, if something happens. 2
keywords: probate, inheritance, inheritance tax and probate. So I'll deal with probate first. And there's articles you can see. I know last year there was an article done by, I'm sure it was on ITV News, whereby basically in a nutshell, husband passed away, life insurance policy wasn't in a trust. I had to go back and forth and fill out the probate form, which can be a bit long-winded. And also remember, when you're mourning, you've lost someone, your brain is scattered. The last thing you want to worry about is how to go and claim. And what happens is, what people don't realize is when it comes to grief and losing a loved one, and I've seen it firsthand because my wife's dad passed away. So I saw what she went through. You haven't got time to be trying to chase things up. So the woman had to chase the policies, got the policy information out. They said it's not in a trust. She had to apply and fill out the probate form, had to wait between 16 weeks to a year for that money to get released. So it takes about 16 weeks for your case to be heard. Then after that, deliberate back and forth, and it can take anything from after that up to a year for the money to get released. The money will get released eventually because you got next of kin, but it's just that traumatic process.
Did you say 16 weeks?
To be heard, the case to be heard.
Wow, that's a long time, bro. Like,
so between 16 weeks to a year for that money to get paid out if it's not in a trust. So you have to go for it. Now, if it's also not in a trust, because that's a legal binding document that obviously operates outside of your estate. So what it means in a nutshell is you bypass that 40% inheritance tax, right? Obviously, every individual will have their own limit, which is set at 325K for their assets. If you acquire residential property, that amount goes up to £500,000. And obviously, when you're a couple, when you're married, it also goes up to £1 million. So they always say in the UK, there's not much perks to getting married. Well, that's probably one of the number 1 perks of being married, that your estate basically doubles. Money gets paid out quicker. It honors the wishes, so you appoint your beneficiaries and your trustees. Beneficiaries tends to be your spouse, your kids. Trustees can be anyone that you trust. For example, it could be a spouse as well. It can also be a parent. It can be a godparent. Beauty with this is when you obviously fill it out, you can do percentages. So you can say 25% goes to this person, 50% goes to that person. Pre-COVID, we'd have to go and get someone to sign it. You have to have a witness present. Now we can do it electronically. So there's no excuse, no reason why anyone that gets a policy done, especially tied to their mortgage or just in general for life insurance, that you don't put it into a trust.
Yeah, it's clearly the better way to do it.
100%.
But why, like, obviously you said if your advisor, your financial advisor kind of clued you up properly, why is there a gap as to those that are doing it that way and those that aren't?
Is it a lot of people are like, because I feel like at one point I was like that until I started working in business. Like when people tell you about, oh, get this, get that, you're like, oh, this is long, bro.
Yeah, no.
And you're like, you just get thrown off by all these numbers and all this jargon.
Do you know what I've realized? And I look at it as this: you kind of want an advisor that's knowledgeable. Okay, I'll take it back to retail. That's why I always say never despise humble beginnings. One thing I'll never Another thing I never forget when I used to work in retail, they used to say, go on above and beyond. And luckily, because where I worked it was prime Regent Street, you're dealing with all the wealthy Arabs coming in. They're giving you the maddest tips. And obviously, me at the time, I'm 21, you're giving me two £50 notes, I'm gassed. Like, you basically...
My shift.
Quickly. And then we got to a point, they were like to us, stop taking the tips. So what I used to do, I would escort them all the way down. So I used to work on like the second floor. I saw them all the way there out the shop, and so we went out the shop. The guy would just give me. I said, "Bro, gas £100, you know."
Yeah.
At 21, I was
at that time, it means
20
something.
at that time. Anyways, but I think what it is, yes, it can be overwhelming. It's a funny one because you're placing your trust into that advisor to make sure that they kind of basically hold your hand and guide you all the way through. But what I've realized, there is a gap. And I feel like the industry realizes there's a gap as well. So people like myself, there's other content creators that talk about this stuff as well. So people are now trying to give that free game and that free information. So now I'm having people take calls with me that are, listen, I haven't watched your videos, and they're asking me the questions, they're actually asking the questions back to me. So at what point are we doing the trust? And, ooh, what do you know about that? So I've been watching your videos, I've been watching someone else's videos. So I think it's just trying to bridge that knowledge gap. So by doing that, people will feel a bit more assured and have more insight and clues about, okay, this is what I need to do for my policies. I don't know exactly how to go about doing it, but I'm trusting you to guide me, and I've got a little bit of insight on how it should be done. So I think the more people that I have a bit more of an awareness towards it, it kind of forces the advisors to make sure that they're following through to the end. Some advisors, not all, but I feel I've been a little bit lazy in the past because of obviously the amount of work that had to go into it. Whereas now, you can do it from the comfort of your home. You don't have to wait for a witness to come to the house to sign. If you don't have to be present yourself, it's just done electronically via Google Meet, via Zoom if you want. I still go out on the road from time to time. It is good to sit down, especially with the older generation. Not all of them are tech savvy, but for our generation and younger, Google Meet, you can just do it. You can just list off the names and details of people that you want. So there is no reason why it shouldn't be done thoroughly and effectively, personally.
How easy or not easy, depending on the case, is it for you that's had multiple children to then add like the next child onto like these policies and stuff?
You just call up the provider.
And just... Literally.
So just tell your advisor, oh, I've had a baby, can I add them on? Simple.
Does stuff like that, I assume, alters the price?
No. So if you add on children's critical illness cover to the plan, no. So literally, could vary from provider to provider, but I know with some companies, for example, actually no, I'm not going to give them any free promo, but with certain companies, if you have 22 kids, you can add all 22 kids on for free. So.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, that's cool. So yourself now, how old is Nova? You mentioned Nova, your oldest daughter.
Yeah, honestly, she's 8.
8.
Nice.
How, if you have started yet, kind of teaching your kids about money?
Have they got the, I see there's like these kids' bank cards.
Yeah, Go Henry.
Go Henry.
Yeah.
Have you got that?
Nova's got one, Nova's got one. But she knew about it from early, so she was getting us, I don't want to get it. So I'm waiting for Ava. When Ava has his birthday coming up in May, I'm going to literally sort him out with one as well. So I always tell my kids, literally, if someone gives you, say, £20, you're not going to spend all of it. It's impossible. So we have to put some away. And I always ask them, what do you think you should put away? There was even a time whereby now, Nova, if you ask Nova, if I give you £20, how much should I put away? Dad, I think I'm going to spend half, and I'm going to keep the other half. And I was like, yes. And I think it's something so subtle, so little, but that we programmed in her mind as she gets older and older and older. And I always said to her already, you know, you've got literally a savings account for you, so your junior stock shares ISA, that's your inheritance at 18. She's like, okay, Dad, you know my inheritance. I'm not saying, don't worry, you're not going to at 18, but you've got access to at 18. However, I want you to, when you finish uni, if you wanted to go uni or start a business, at least you know when it's time to now acquire your property, there's your deposit. And I would say, my aim as a parent, as a minimum, year's deposit for your first son. That's just my want.
That's what you'd like to do for them. Yeah.
And the best way to do it for me is utilizing that junior stock and shares ISA, because you can max out 9K a year. Obviously, I got 5K, so I want to max out 9K for each child. You know what I mean? But what I do, I make sure as a minimum I do between 100 to 200 pounds each child. So I'm like, okay, by the time you get to 18, when I've done my compound interest calculator, and it's free for everyone. Go on the compound interest calculator yourself, just try it out. So look at, say, if you put in £100 each month, so the child reaches age 18, assuming there's a rate of return around 8%, your child will have sitting in their account at 18 around 60K.
That's I can't argue with that.
I'm not being funny. I don't know many people that can say that at 18.
Yeah.
That's from £100 a month.
Yeah. And
that's why I always talk about, especially in my content, start with what you have. You know, don't be overwhelmed. Oh, I got to be putting thousands of pounds away. It's better to start then not do it at all. Because what happens is another year goes by, another year, and then you've lost of years and years of compound interest.
And then the child is 18.
Yeah. And then what are we doing?
Nothing. Yeah. It's true. It's true. Gosh,
Foundations like that's proper good, because even our parents, obviously, like you said before, didn't really know this sort of stuff, and it's up to us to go out there and do it. Like, to be honest, there is sometimes where I do think to myself that I am living life wrong. I'm definitely living life wrong. Like, I need to definitely get my things in order and stuff. And you can go around life sometimes and just forget about sort of stuff. But when stuff happens to you, you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have done it. That was the time. This is minor, innit? But there was a time when our washing machine broke down. School, the kids had school like next. We had to wash the school clothes and stuff. And I was like to call my wife's mum. I was like, do you know a mechanic? She goes, why haven't you got insurance on it? And I looked at Rhea and I was
Domestic
like,
in general,
yeah.
Domestic in general. So I signed up immediately. The next, say, 3 days later, they came over and they fixed it. And it was like, yeah, you're covered for life. Like, just keep paying it and whatever. And from that day, I said to myself, everything else in this house is going to be covered on that, man. So that's
I think
stuff
for me, even to echo what you said, to piggyback on that, is peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Yes, peace of mind. Because what you don't want is, and I don't want to see GoFundMes. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Why are we begging for? We're actually privileged. Yes, they will say we're getting taxed left, right, and centre. We are, but it is what it is. But just having these simple insurance policies that do pay out, that do help, it's convenience it. And for me, I always look at it, especially when I see like people that I do like, we do like individual breakdowns of their outgoings. People are spending £90 on Sky. Phone bills £80. Car finance is £350. But to look after your family wholeheartedly, 360 holistically, say £100 a month, you're batting eyelids. I'm like, come on, friend, you've got your priorities in the wrong.
Yeah.
And obviously, it doesn't have to be that. Don't get me wrong, because every household is different. But for me, I would gladly pay that £100, knowing if, say, my children get sick, for example. So, the life insurance policy that I have for my kids, it has an online virtual GP service. I'm someone, I haven't got the time to go in, even though my GP surgery is like a 5-minute drive, but I ain't got time. I'd rather just go on the app, book a slot, they see my children virtually. If they need to prescribe medication, I can go and get medication done privately there and then. If it's a thing whereby they deem that it's something severe, they can give me a referral link to go in and be seen privately, all through my own life insurance policy.
Yeah. It's so important.
Bro,
like
so
when you have kids, like, and like you mentioned the NHS and just, I've had my own struggles health-wise a couple years back with the NHS and just like prescribing me something that just didn't work, that made me worse. My daughter has had a bit of trouble, you know, in her first few years, and it's just like, we need other options. Like, it's not their fault. It's not to blame the NHS, but it's like, we just need other options to be seen quicker. We can't be waiting. We can't just all be relying on this one service sort of thing. So to have things in place so you can go to even like private healthcare and stuff, like it's a no-brainer. Like,
and even to add on, there's even certain companies whereby you can get a free annual health MOT done annually, or you can get a discounted one. So it's one where you go into, they've got, I can't remember the location. I think it's Harley Street.
Harley Street, probably.
I'm sure it's Harley Street. You pay X amount, but you get a good discount on it. So typically it'd be around £800 with a discount, I think it's like £200 around that. They do everything, every check. And obviously, especially as parents, especially as heads of the household, we have to be making sure we're doing the annual health MOT. That's something, for me, I don't take it as a joke, because you just never know. Honestly, you just never know. So, yeah.
How were you like financially living life before you became a dad?
Yeah.
Would you say maybe more like paycheck to paycheck, just having fun with your money? Did you have a plan at all?
I wouldn't say I had a plan, if I'm being completely honest. I wouldn't say I was bad with money. I wouldn't say I was savvy how I am now with money, if that makes sense. I wasn't really, I was investing, but there was no plan to it. Errands, like sporadically. £100, put it in. £25, put it in, just whatever. But now, since having children, I said, okay, you know what? Not to say I'm living for my children, because I'm still living for myself, but I feel like, okay, more of a purpose, more of a mission. I'm like, no. You guys are going to be patterned. No one can ever try and say they're going to bluff my children. It's literally, we're laying foundations to make sure that you can go and possess wherever you want to go, if that makes sense. So for me, it's whether having things financially, experiences, whether it be learning instruments, whether it be certain sports, just make sure you're bold and confident. Because one thing I've realized, especially seeing family members that went to private school and those that didn't, well, even though I've seen both sides of the coin with those family members that went private. I've seen those that went private school and utilised it. those that went private school and just completely, your parents pay money for no reason, basically.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to say is the ones that went there and utilized it, the confidence, the audaciousness, the boldness. It's like almost they know who they are, they're assured in who they are.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, I'll make sure that I'm trying to instill, not even make sure I am. I'm saying that my kids, like, be bold, be confident. Don't be arrogant, but know that where you go, you can possess that. That is for you. Don't limit what you can achieve. So,
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Yeah, it's important, man. How are you with your boys in regards to confidence and stuff?
All the time, like, so even today, football, dropping lane football, there was a part in the match where like one of the kids were like, he had the ball trying to hold onto the ball. I said to him, listen, go and tackle him right now. And like, I just got to tell him, like, go and tackle him, tackle him. And it's like, one time he won't get it, second time he won't get it, third time he's gonna do it. And I've been, even that we've been doing with my little brother when I used to take him to football, I'll be like, yo, do this, do that, tackle him. You're the best on the pitch. You're the best on the pitch. I was gonna make them know that you're the best at this.
Have to.
Because if you don't do that sort of stuff, they're just gonna go around and just give you bog standard. It's gonna sound mad, but I don't want bog standard, bro. I want the best.
Yeah. I don't blame you. No.
Want the best.
And one thing I'll never forget is, the African mindset. I'll never forget, like, if you say you could do a test and you got a B, why was it not an A, for example? Yeah. And even though I'm like, but what I do with my son, even say for example, like last week he got played a match at football. So, and I heard what he said, not everyone was says. It's almost that battle between that African mentality and trying to be that new age parent.
Yeah,
so even though I was like, why didn't you get a hat trick? Because he could have scored a hat trick. But you know what, you done well. I applaud you. But now next week, let's go for more.
Let's go for more.
Does that make sense?
So
you're trying to, and even family sometimes almost like if you watch, it's not like I'm glitching. I'm like trying to think like, okay, I need to break out of that. What my dad would have done. Does that make sense? It's like, okay, well done. However, next week now, let's work towards this.
More,
But he's like, I will, Dad. So it's just trying to. You want to make, as a parent, your child has that safe space to come to you.
Yeah.
Because what you don't want is they go elsewhere for it.
Yeah.
Whereby we have no control.
This is it.
And that's always my. I don't want to call it a fear, but I feel like I've failed heavily if ever happened to my children. They feel they can't come to me.
I think for me, I think it's fair, man. Because I've seen a lot of guys from good homes, and they go outside in the streets, and next thing you know, they've got one older that's like, go show this. And that one there is that makes me sick. My stomach turns when I think about my kids going out there and doing that sort of stuff. So I think for me, it's definitely fair, man.
Yeah. I would say I was from a good home, but my dad, just the way, I guess, they brought over their African parenting, like he never had time to kind of spend time with me in those capacities. So then, you go outside kind of seeking the validation and, you want to see what these guys are doing or whatever the case is like. And God willing, I didn't get into any trouble or anything like that, but it's just like, I easily could have started doing anything else because the person that should have been kind of, and my dad done very well, but it was very much academic. Like, this is it. Like, you drop everything else, focus on this. And that doesn't make a round person, as we've all probably grown up to see those people that were super academic now, they maybe progressed in that way, but they never, they're not the full circle. Like, they're missing something as well.
And I feel, even to add on to, I feel it's so important, again, to make our children well-rounded as much as possible. Even despite playing football regularly, what that does to you is like confidence, being able to be around maybe other people, perhaps you want to be around naturally, teamwork, team ethic, bonding, being vocal, being able to express self, experiencing victory, experiencing loss, just little things like that. And even to add on, I have a theory with parents, especially our parents as immigrants coming to the country, maybe if it's first generation. They had to learn a new system.
Yeah.
They had to acclimatize to a new culture, acclimatize to a new weather. They still had the challenges they experienced. To be fair, obviously, I don't know if your parents came in the 80s or 70s. You may even still seen certain signs. Yeah. No blacks, no dogs, no Irish, for example. You've seen them, which, even though it seems far away, it technically wasn't as far away. It wasn't far. Having to maybe have their own trauma that they're experiencing. And then to maybe feel like they're in a job whereby they're overqualified, but they have to do that to put food on the table. So the more I deep it is, the more I have more grace towards my parents. And I'm like, you did what you can. Now we are where we are. We've got to run with it.
It's true. You mentioned your parents. Like, how, from what you remember, how were your parents with money? And
so I don't remember my parents being the greatest of money, but it's funny. It's like I saw the transition as I was getting older. So it's so funny when you're young growing up. Everyone's just, you're oblivious to a lot of things. But I remember realizing we're not rich. And what I remember that is, so I don't forget, I went to one of my friends' houses in primary school now, and I was like, you've got like 2 or 3 stories. This is mad.
Stories as in.
I said, yeah. And I was like,
the things that kids would think.
and I was like, you've got your own room. This is mad.
Yeah, got your own. That's a sign of. That's a sign
Yeah,
of.
yeah, sign of wealth.
You look at it like
Is that what it is? Obviously, getting older, you realise obviously that part of where that person, my friend from high school, lived was like an affluent part in the area. And it's so funny, especially with England and London, rich and poor can live side by side.
Yeah.
It was just mad. But I just saw like obviously my parents, they were in various jobs, but I remember at a significant age when they were both working as care assistants. And then I remember my dad saying he's going to uni to become to study IT. I was like, right, okay. In my head, it was the way your program was like, you go uni at 18, 21. So no, I can't remember my dad was in his 40s or whatever. I feel he's in his 40s when he went to uni. And I was like, no, like, I read that. You know, he ended up working at NHS for 25 plus years. Like, he was like a top manager in the IT field in the NHS. Then my mum went to do nursing as well. So I think seeing that, it kind of was okay, yeah, no, if you go and study, like, you can still reap the benefits. I remember they bought their council property where we grew up, and then they sold that, but my mum became sick, so that just kind of derailed everything. So it was almost like seeing it. I remember I was like mid-teens, so I was like year 10, 11. That's when I noticed the change financially. So I was like, okay, we're going on holidays. Oh, right, we can go on holidays now. Or like the shopping, there's a couple of extra takeaways, and I was like, right, okay. But then my mum got sick, so I kind of derailed everything. But then they bought their property, they sold their property, and then decided to move up north.
Okay.
But then even my dad the other day, literally we were just talking because he's getting his pension payout, but he's still going to work a couple more years, he said. But yeah, even the property up north, he's just finished paying for it. And then for me, I was like, seeing the journey from my own lens, I was like, no, Dad, well done.
Yeah.
Like, well done, because it ain't, I've gone older now, I've understood your struggle. Without you saying much, I've just seen it on the outside. Yeah. And now having my children and my wife, I'm like, wow. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So, as men, it's not easy, man. That's why I would say it's important that we have outlets where we can talk. Even like you doing football, I go football like on a Monday. You need it. It's important. Yeah, facts. Important.
Facts.
But
facts.
It's true.
Clear mind. You need escapism as well, man.
That's really what it is.
Escapism,
yeah.
When I was doing wrestling training, it's mad escape because I thought like I could be a wrestler. I thought I could make it. I look at myself, I was like, bro, I could be the next Rock, obviously, but obviously, like, it's just nice just to be there. And even for fitness as well, man, like health is important.
Health is the greatest wealth.
Bro.
Yeah. So,
fam, that one there is very important. So, yeah, wherever you can stay fit, stay fit.
Yeah. I guess as we're rounding up here, what would you say for a new father would be the number one financial thing they should do to start putting their affairs in order?
Okay.
Their family.
I would say prioritize your health. You need to be able to enjoy and run around with your kids. That for me is fundamental. A lesson I learned, because I spent so much time, especially before I transitioned into the most recent company I'm at, I spent so much time in the office working because I'm like, yeah, for the kids. But really and truly, the kids ain't seeing me, so it's not for them. Even though it's for them, it's not for them, if that makes sense, because there's no time with that. Work-life balance. So since pivoting and just going strictly self-employed, best thing ever. I get the time with my kids. I can manage my own calendar, my own diary. Then obviously having the right insurance policies in place. Sort out your income protection first, fundamental. Get critical illness cover for yourself and add on your kids onto that policy. Get a life insurance policy to the maximum term to the age of 90. You just never know. Not to be mundane, average life expectancy in the UK is around 83. Someone might turn and say, what happens if I outlive that? Then there's obviously a policy called convertible term insurance, whereby you can turn it into a whole of life before the age of 83. So there's many options. Once you've done that as well, place it into a trust, appoint your beneficiaries and your trustees as well. Start investing. If you've got any debt, clear your debt first, ideally. Don't let these credit cards hit you with that crazy interest rate. It's not making any sense. You're losing money. Clear that off as quickly as possible. Start your investing journey for yourself and for your kids. Even if you're new to investing, utilize ETFs or index funds, and just do it consistently. Start with what you have. A lot of companies now, or trading platforms that do investing, allow you to purchase fractional shares. So, for example, if say you wanted to purchase, I think the most recent one that I purchased was the FTSE 100. I think it's like around £56 for a share. So if say you couldn't, for whatever reason, purchase one whole share, you can buy one at half the price. So that 50, if it's 56 divided by 2, that's 20 something pound, 20 whatever it is. You can get 0.5 of a share for that. Then the next month, just get another share, another half share. Just keep doing that until you build up a natural habit. Build up the natural habit, then you can obviously increase that amount. Do the same thing for your kids. I always like to throw in as well having premium bonds, but I know some people with that one because you technically don't gain any interest on it. However, I always say with premium bonds, you don't lose out on anything. It's because they always do the monthly cash prize draw. So even if you don't win anything in the cash prize, the money gets entered in again. Yeah. And you can take it out any moment in time. So yeah.
No, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things, but it's worth it. You know,
that part in itself is a video done.
Yeah.
Take that. Use that as your Bible, man. Honestly, that was good, man. Well, I appreciate you, man.
No, thank you, man.
Obviously, I've learned a lot today that I didn't know that I could actually do. So even the income protection, that's something I never thought of.
And as someone like you, that's like a freelancer.
So I was going to say, so if you are a company director, so a company, there's things you can do as a tax write-off as well. So basically, you can get that policy for 50% off. Yeah, so that is a whole video in itself.
We need to talk, bro.
Even a life insurance, relevant life, you can write off. So with your accountant, they'll literally write off 50% of your premium. So if say you're paying, let's make it life easier. If say everything's £100, you can literally write off half of that amount in the tax year. So I do that a lot for business, a lot. Even though I policy for someone else yesterday doing that. So
we need to talk, man.
Yeah,
100%. For sure.
That's it. We need to keep talking so we're all in the know of what's going on and the knowledge and stuff behind it. Yeah. I'm not going to ask you how much you earn. but I just see the blingy blingy. Our brother's doing well.
I'm going from Thailand.
Our brother's doing well. How much money does it take to have a wife and 5 kids in this UK?
So I see comments online a lot. I try to stay away from it because it's so funny. I was on an IG live yesterday, and the lady said something which is so fundamental. Sometimes if you say things in a way, people look at, like, who does he think he is, or who does she think he is? And as a man that's come from a low socioeconomical background, I've seen council estate royalty. I've seen the lows of the lows, but then I'm on that journey to trying to get to the highs of the highs, if that makes sense. I'm not there yet. I've done much better than where I was, say, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, a year ago. So I'm so thankful. I'm going to put it like this. My weekly food shop is £250 a week.
Weekly.
Argue with yourself. People be like, you don't need to spend that much.
I mean, that makes sense.
But I've got 5 kids.
That makes sense. Yeah, 5 kids.
So,
that's what I was going to say.
Weekly.
Weekly, that makes sense.
But
what are you shopping, by the way?
So my wife likes Waitrose.
Yeah.
But I'm a Sainsbury's man. I love Sainsbury's.
Okay. But even like people will say Waitrose is like up there when it comes to markets, but Sainsbury's is still
Sainsbury's is one of the most expensive right now. I think I saw some stat was like Waitrose and M&S have literally, the prices hasn't dropped, but it's just stayed stagnant to the point where like, Sainsbury's and
the other ones are catching up.
I utilize my Nectar card. I love my Nectar card.
No, bro, one of the best things I've ever got. Come on, Nectar card, one of the best things.
I mean, like Nectar. If you guys want to, do some collaboration, let me know.
All the cards, club card, Nectar card, all the cards.
Even so funny. So before, with Waitrose, I was like, come on, we're just paying for a name, babe. But they introduced the loyalty card.
Okay.
So that one there, the points, it's collecting points. Don't get me wrong, you will see me in Aldi as well, but the one thing I won't buy, not do what you want, but I won't buy meat from Aldi.
Why is that? It's not quality. The quality's not good. The quality from Waitrose is very good, and M&S good.
So a guy told me, he literally said, if you want to buy from he said if you want to get it from a supermarket, top quality is Waitrose, M&S. He said Sainsbury's is just under. I can't remember. There was another one underneath that.
Lidl?
It might have been Lidl. But I know he did say Aldi was kind of like...
Aldi's at the bottom.
He weren't rating Aldi. And he's someone that works in that field. He was like, okay, take his word for it.
Stay safe, people.
Horse meat.
My God. But yeah, bro. EJ, it's been a pleasure to kind of learn and pick your brains on all of this stuff, because I think it's definitely important, as a lot of us are young fathers, young men, and just like, this isn't even just for fathers. Like you've mentioned stuff that is relevant to everyone, innit?
I feel like I've been. This is nice because it's like normally we have Dadicated, we just talk amongst each other stuff. But I feel like I've been lectured today, and my eyes have been open on certain things that I wasn't open before, and it's good just to sit there and just take in.
Oh, thank you. And it's so funny. Just to add on to that, even with myself, because I just do this day in, day out. I just think it's normal. But I've realized it's actually not normal for a lot of people. Even like when I start making content, because before people were like, I'm like, people actually want to hear me talk about this. But I quickly realized, and for me, I'm so grateful because like even I started doing content, taking it seriously, not last December before that. Even though I haven't been consistent, because juggling work, content, kids is a lot. But I've been able to amass like just under 50k followers on Instagram, and I was like, this is mad for me. So clearly there's people that are benefiting from it, and it's just each one teach one. So you know.
And it's funny because you're a content man. I know you try to be doing stuff, and then it's good that what you're doing now that has kind of grown your following is something that is very helpful to everybody, sort of thing. So no, it's appreciated, man. Tell the people where they can find you.
So Instagram is Money Saving Parent. TikTok is Money Saving Dad. I'm on LinkedIn as well. For those that do LinkedIn, you can just type in Money Saving Parent. I should come up, or Emmanuel Jones. If you want to book a free consultation, literally it's all my bios on Instagram and TikTok. So feel free.
Nice, cool. Appreciate it, man. But yeah, guys, hit him up. You know, he's got a good team around him as well. Get you patterned. And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all the usual stuff. We'll be back with some more episodes of Dadicated very soon.